Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you may be. Welcome back to the Same Old Arsenal podcast, episode 101. Some positives, some negatives. I'm sure we'll talk about. Joining me this evening, tis Dan. How are you, sir?
Hello, mate. How you doing, buddy? Nice to see our intro is back, Craig. Our intro
is nice, isn't it?
It is nice, mate. I'm happy.
And I'm gonna, like I said on Twitter today, there's going to be there'll be an advert on later on, but I'll explain that all later when I'm about to play it. But you're good, mate, yeah?
Very well, thank you, mate. Very well.
Good. Mr. Mark Partridge, how are you, sir? Welcome to the Same Old Arsenal podcast. It's a pleasure to have you.
Good evening, all. No, it's a pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me.
Not at all, mate. Not at all. If anyone, we've been mates for so long, I suppose I can't really deny you, can I? Really, you know.
Well, you could, but we wouldn't make mates anymore, would we?
Oh, so, true, yeah.
And that would be your loss.
Yes. Well, yes, it would. Yes, it would. If everyone wants to know, me and Mark will bounce off each other quite well on this. I'm actually looking forward to it, to be honest. I've been friends with Mark since about 9 years old, I think, mate, isn't it?
Something like that.
Cause Havoc at school together.
Only about 15 years, isn't it?
Yeah, cause Havoc at school together. Cause Hazard down the pub together. But we're mature now.
Once or twice.
Yeah, we're married and with kids and all that malarkey. Judges!
Right. I thought you was reminiscing there for a minute. Like, sorry. Like, you know what I mean?
Save that for another show, Craig. That's another show.
It was more entertaining than your boring old stories we used to get about going to Wimbledon and all that.
Wait. All right, no need now because you've got someone else to gang up on me. No need for it, no need for it.
How are you, my old fruit?
I am very good, thank you very much. All good, buzzing for tomorrow night and the old Chelsea Arsenal. Buzzing for it. Not really, no.
Yeah, I can't say that I'm buzzing for it.
No, we might get a draw.
We might. Yeah, doubtful. But we'll get on to that. Dan, let's start with you as per normal. Sheffield United, I'm trying to tell myself that it was a bad performance. But then when you go on Twitter and you knee-jerk it and you say things that you shouldn't say. And looking back at the tweets, I shouldn't have said that. But it's all, emotional reactiveness, if that's even a thing. I said that it was no different to an Emery team, that performance against Sheffield United. But then, of course, I sit down and you calm down. I don't know, Dan. I need some clarification. Was it a bad performance? Was it 2 points lost? Was it a good draw? Bearing in mind, Sheffield United are 5 places above us in the table, and are doing better than us. So who sees it as do Sheffield United see it as 2 points dropped playing a team in 10th place that they, should?
Well, this is the thing. Listen, they're no mugs. Sheffield United are no mugs. They're a team that are well drilled. They're well coached. They've got the players that know how to defend as a unit, and Chris Wilder knows exactly what he's doing. They come with a game plan, and they'll be more than happy to take a point off of us at the Emirates. So let's not say that they're no mugs. Before I carry on, I'm going to put a comment on which did make me laugh, and there is a slight resemblance.
He's lost a bit of weight.
Anyway, yeah. Anyway, sorry. I had to put it up. And also,
I won't say that, Mark. We'll get back at him, Mark. Don't worry about that.
Poor Graham. Poor old Graham.
He can't be him because he's not interrupting us. You know what I mean?
Can I just come in there, Lee? Is it all right if I just come in
there? You still got the 4 minutes in.
Told you, didn't I? Disaster, this kid.
Can we just go back on that point you was making there, Dan?
4 minutes in and it's all gone wrong, Mark. 4 minutes in. No, but the positives from the game, I will say, in terms of some of the young players. Martinelli got on the score sheet yet again. Thought he dipped in the second half, if I'm honest, but overall a good performance from the lads. Man of the match by a country mile, was Saka. I think that when you look at what this kid's doing at left back, it really is phenomenal. But what I will say again, and I went back to this a few weeks ago, I wanted Arteta to look at the players that he could coach. And Saka is one of those lads, and he will play wherever he's put on the pitch. He will play, and he'll give 110%. One thing I will say that I was impressed with Saka was his strength. I think it was John Lundstrom. He just absolutely battered him, knocked him on the floor, and everyone expected it to be a foul in this day and age, and the ref just said play on. And I thought that was just fantastic to see that the lad's got some muscle and strength. I will give it up for Maitland-Niles at right back. I thought he played really well again. And I actually thought David Luiz, again, he hasn't had a bad game under Arteta. You know, this lad got a lot of stick when he come to Arsenal, and he was making a few errors, but I think Luiz has been really good and commanding under Arteta. But it's our senior players again that are letting us down. Lacazette, I just don't know what's the matter with him. I thought he was really poor again. It's not the fact that he's not trying. I just think that it's pure to see that him, Mesut Ozil, and a few others down tools on Emery, and now they can't keep up with this new regime and this philosophy of Mikel Arteta, because what he needs is fit players, and he needs people that are high intensity and off the ball. And unfortunately for those two, it just seems to me now that they just haven't got it. Pepe, signs of greatness, but again, very frustrating. I'm not sure that he can really get, I mean, the penalty we'll go on to a little bit later, but for me, it was the only time that he beat a player. He just can't seem to get past these players, and he's got this pace, but he hasn't got a right foot. You just wanted him to see it on the right there, knock it past and run past him, but he's always cutting in on his left.
Yeah. So predictable, isn't he?
Very predictable, and I think overall the performance is not one that I can sit and slate just for the pure fact that the opposition are no mugs. I thought we could nick the game, and I still feel that we could have, but overall performance that I think we can take some positive from in terms of our young players, but really it's not quite coming together, and very frustrating in parts. So, yeah, listen, it's another one that we can tick off and say that, you know, we've seen some positives, but overall, I needed 3 points for me, Craig. Really.
Yeah, absolutely. We did need the 3 points. Lee, you were obviously there. What was the atmosphere like around the stadium? You know, we're always talking about how bad it is and this, that, and the other, but it was good against Man United, obviously, because we were winning and we won. Talk to us. Tell me about the atmosphere around the place in that game.
I thought it was all right. I didn't think it was that too bad. I think someone said on Match of the Day, I think it was what's his name, Jonathan Pearce, said it was negative vibes after 10 minutes of the game or something. I didn't notice that. I felt it was quite positive. I've got to say, considering how poor the first half was, it was painful to watch. I couldn't believe I was paying to watch that game. Like, you know what I mean? It was unbelievable. It was. I was. You know, I'm sure that if every fan, if they said, like, you know, you can get your money back on that first half, everybody would have been queuing up. It was so poor. It was dire. But we went in 1-0 up, and you know, you're thinking then, can they? The trouble is, Craig, you know that they're not going to see it through. You know that they're going to get, they're going to score a goal. So you're looking for Arsenal to push on in the second half, and that's something that they never really did. I think if I'll be honest, I think Arteta divvied over his substitutions. He didn't really know quite where to go, whether it was to shut up shop or go for it. I think he sort of got caught up in that a little bit, but that's, you know, I'm not slagging him off. It can happen to the best of managers, you know. And I think that maybe that, you know, the Eddie substitution was a bit baffling one for me, very baffling. But I felt that, you know, it is disappointing when you hear people say, "Oh yeah, but you know, it's a good point against Sheffield United." Is that this is
what I mean. Yeah, this is what I mean. Like, when I said about we're 10th, they're 5th. Yeah, you know, are they going back up to Sheffield thinking, you know, should be beating these 10th? We should be beating these 10th place teams.
Yeah, well, you know what I mean. And their stadium, you know, is you know, I look at it. We've moved to the Emirates now to compete with. We can't compete with Sheffield United, you know, from that point of view. But listen, they are a well coached,
yes, they are a good side,
well drilled side. So then you're looking at well coached drill sides that defend very, very well. What do you need? You need people in there with creativity to break that down. Mesut Ozil, you know, was found wanting, Craig. Absolutely found wanting in this game. And I watched him closely on Saturday. There are times he gets into very, very good pockets of space, but we've got players that are not good enough to put the ball into him. So that frees it up. And then instead of coming looking for the ball, he's quite happy to just, wander around, trying to pick the ball up when he gets it. Then when he gets it into good positions, it's a 5-yard, 10-yard square ball. He's not driving past people. He doesn't look like he's going to score a goal. And, for a game like that, I felt that maybe, we should have been a little bit more attack-minded, considering we didn't have a Aubameyang. Maybe we should have brought on Ceballos in that game. But just before they scored, I don't know if you noticed it, that Guendouzi was about to come on for Mesut Ozil, so he looked like he was going to shore it up. It was just one, like, it's hard to say disappointed. I was just more frustrated with the performance, frustrated with the result, particularly at home. But what does frustrate me more than anything else is that we've been seeing these sort of performances since the beginning of the season. We're in January now. We need to buy some players that are we need some real investment in this side to really kick on now. And I just don't see the ball doing it, and at the end, I don't think the supporters were unreasonable. They didn't boo, but you could tell that they were frustrated, Craig. You could tell there was a lot of frustration around, not anger, because you don't want to start blaming Arteta and all that at the moment.
No, of course not. No, of course not.
But you are starting now to look at the ball and going, are they going to back this man? Because what I'm seeing of Arteta is that he can coach these players to a certain degree, but he's not going to be able to coach these bunch of players to the expectations that certainly me and you have got, and the rest of the fan base.
Yeah, Mark, a lot of negatives around that game that we were talking about previously there, but some positives. I think that the defence done really well. It's a game we would have lost under Emery. Probably we would have gone to pot.
Yeah.
So talks with David Luiz. I mean, it's been a bit of a revelation, hasn't he?
Yeah, I mean, and that's the important thing, isn't it, to remember, is that under Emery, we were giving away 25 chances in a game to the opposition. And I think at the weekend, the stats were very equal between us and Sheffield United. So it was probably a 1-1 draw was fair, 60% possession and what have you. But the important thing is that we got the chances given away down to about 10 or 12, which is for us is fantastic considering the injuries we've got across the back four as well. And so what we're doing, what Arteta's doing, is stripping it back, isn't he? And as a defender myself, if you don't concede, you don't lose. That's what Arsenal used to do. That's what the Arsenal do. Don't concede, don't lose. And then build from there. And the defenders got more protection now. So, we will see. Mustafi, I mean, maybe he was guilty of being absolutely rubbish because he was completely and utterly exposed. And the same with David Luiz. I think Lee touched on it on one of his preview shows. I've definitely heard Lee talking about it now, and Dan, we all can see it's glaringly obvious. And that's what used to drive us absolutely nuts with Emery, was he had these two midfielders. All he needed to do was put them both in front of the back four and give them a chance to defend like a proper unit. And now they are. And so now these average players, as Lee says, are operating better. So
there's an argument out there that Mustafi was our best defender.
Well, because he's getting help. They're working as a team. This is a team game, isn't it? We've talked about it before. You have competition along the back four, with people saying, I'm not letting a winger get down my side. You have to drive them back and they'll have to go and have a go down Nigel Winterburn's side because I ain't coming past Lee. So we get the defence right, and David Luiz has been fantastic. I think he'll be massively up for Tuesday night as well. I hope he is. And I can see great signs of a defensive improvement, and the rest will come. I'm sure, because we've got the class, so it will show.
Yeah, Dan, what will Mikel Arteta be thinking at the moment? We go to Chelsea tomorrow. Top four surely is out the window now after the draw against Sheffield United. He says today in his press conference that we have to win tomorrow to stay in touch with the top four. What do you think he'll be thinking at the moment? Because it hasn't been the best start for him, has it? I think he would have imagined it going a bit better than what it has. What's he going to be thinking?
Well, I think he's going to be worried about the lack of goals because Aubameyang's out. It looks that none of the others can score now. I think when you look at us over this season, we had everyone shouting about how crap our defence was, and we've just touched on that as improving as a unit, what Mark's just said. For me, we've had no midfield for most of this season because of the pure fact that Torreira's not been in the right position. Now we've got that back, and the goals are dried up. So it seems to me like we've had every single part of our team has not really hit its full heights. I can see what he's doing. I think Arteta will be pleased with what he's seen from some of the players, but he has to work out who fits his style and who doesn't. I think what he's doing at the moment is he's thinking, I know what I want to do, but I haven't got the players to do it. And I think Pep Guardiola noticed that when he had Zabaleta and Sagna and Clichy and Kolarov, and that's why he then went and bought Mendy and Walker, and they went and won the league. I think Arteta's looking at that in a few positions. My problem is I don't think the board will back him like the Man City board backed Pep and the Liverpool board backed Klopp. And that's my main concern. What will Arteta be thinking? I think he knows the top four is done. I think he's aware that we can get into the top six. I believe that, I said it a few weeks ago, he needs to get this player as fit as possible and then reassess in February, March time for the Europa League, because that is the priority for me. We've still got a chance of going far in that competition. I personally don't think we'll win it. I think the competition is too tough still. I think you've got Roma, Inter Milan, Ajax, still Man United and Wolves in it. And I think those 5 teams could roll us over any day because let's be honest, we can't beat Sheffield United at home. So really we should be looking at that opposition, thinking, are we really going to get past Inter Milan then? But that's why we need to get this team as fit as possible between February and March. I think he's got to be looking at some of these individuals and looking at some of the bench and thinking, should Ozil really be playing ahead of Dani Ceballos now? Should Lacazette, how many more chances do I give him up top until Martinelli comes into the centre? He seems to like, the Nelson. Does he stick with Nelson on the wing? These are all questions he's got to look at. So I think that's what he's thinking of there. My one worry is Lacazette is not good away from home, and he's not been good at home this season. How can he get Lacazette firing? These are all questions he's got to look at. For me, I look at Lacazette and I think that he's a great striker still. And I still believe he works hard, and I think he's great with holding the ball up. I just think the guy at the moment has got the kind of lack of confidence. And I think that when some of these players do install some confidence in them as a team, that's when the likes of Pepe and Laka will start to shine. We haven't got, without Aubameyang, someone who can play pretty sort of average for 85 minutes but still score. I don't think Lacazette is that type of player. I think he's one of these confidence players that if he misses it or it goes wrong for him, then he's going to have a bad 90 minutes, which is a shame. But I do think there is some positives, and Mark hit the nail on the head when he said that the amount of goals that shots we were conceding has stopped. That's stopped now. We're not having 30 chances. Sheffield United, as much as I did see that goal coming at some stage, it wasn't like they were battering our goal, and Leno had loads to do. So that has improved defensively as a unit. What I need to see now is goals from this team, and I think that will be a worry for Arteta as it is for the fans.
Lee, I was just about to ask you about it, actually, but Dan has mentioned it. I was going to say to you, when does Arteta start having to think about eggs in baskets? And when I say eggs in baskets, I mean, if he doesn't think he can finish in the top 4, a route into the Champions League next year is the Europa League. Jose Mourinho had to make that decision one year, and it paid off for him. Obviously, they won the Europa League and they got into the Champions League. How long more before Mikel Arteta has to think about that?
Well, Arteta's not going to win the Europa League with the squad that he's got now. It's not going to happen. He's got to make the investment. You know what I mean? Again, it comes to investment. The club have got to look at it. If they're not going to invest on just getting the result through the top 4, which it seems like it's out the window now. You still got to look to getting reinforcements in this window to have a good go at the Europa League. We've got no defenders at this moment in time. It's as simple as that. I look at clubs like Spurs, Man United. They've lost strikers in this transfer window, and they're looking to get strikers in, or trying to. Arsenal lose a central defender before the transfer window and go and loan them out. And there's a difference. We can save some money here. This is the trouble. It's not being backed properly. Arteta needs to be backed. And I don't see it. He's got to make these players better, like i.e. Lacazette, and players like that. Unfortunately, he's off form at the moment, but I still think that he was doing an okay job for us on Saturday. He was holding the ball up. As soon as he went off, Eddie come on and their hold-up play completely went out the window. So you need to have him holding the ball up, and then it's up to other players coming through. Listen, as far as I'm concerned, he's got this game in Bournemouth to start getting his act together. Otherwise, it would be Lacazette out and Aubameyang in and Martinelli out on the wide. But according to Arteta today, that they're still in conversations with Brazil about whether Martinelli goes or not. If he goes, that's another player we're down. So, you just can't keep losing players to injury and letting players go on international duty and not replacing them. And I get the story. Oh, not just getting anybody in and everything like that. I get that. So let's get the players in now that we want for next season. So that, for instance, if there's a central defender out there we're going to get, instead of him taking him 6 months next season to get ready for the Premier League, why don't you have him now and get used to the 6 months now when and we go like with a team and a squad fully used to the Premier League and ready to attack it. I'm not. If we don't get Europa League this season, we go out the Champions League, then I'm not going to throw my dummy out about it. I'm not that bothered about the Europa League now. Let's just concentrate on getting into the top four and doing it properly next season. Like Chelsea did a couple of seasons ago. They won in Europe and they went on and won the league. So let's build for next season. And that's where I see it going from. Like, hopefully we can have an FA Cup run, a good run in that. But listen, Inter Milan are buying players left, right and centre, at this moment in time. There's other teams with bigger and better ambitions than us to win it. Manchester United at this moment in time will improve in the next couple of weeks because they will get players in. They're already buying a £60 million player. So they're going to be a bit better and stronger going into the second half of the season in Europa League while we're getting weaker and weaker.
I mean, there was talk about that lad from, was it Red Bull Leipzig? Is it Upper Meccano? That's gone very quiet, hasn't it? There was talks of this lad from Benfica. Apparently, I saw on Twitter today by one of the in the knows that he's off to Lyon because we're messing about. Mark, the Europa League, is it something you think we can win? Is it something that you think Arteta has to concentrate on winning?
Well, if we don't get 3 points against Chelsea, top four's done. It's arguably done already. But I think getting in Europa League is important because it does attract a level of player more so than not being in it. I think. I don't know. I might be wrong. But so if I had a choice of being in it or not, I would prefer to be in it.
I'd agree with you there. Yeah, I'd rather.
And if we can go on a run in it, I mean, Dan says like, we're not going to beat Wolves and Man United. They're in it. I don't know if Wolves and Man United beat Sheffield United either, Dan. Did they? You probably know more than me. But the thing is, we're lucky Sheffield United are not in it. That's because they, you know what I mean. Because Man United, I'd rather play with Man United at the minute than Sheffield United. So, but as Lee says, they're probably going to strengthen Cavani. That's just been reported on Sky Sports News or some other outlet that he's maybe open to that deal. Although Atletico are heavily sniffing around, and it wouldn't be against Manchester United to go and sign a striker like that, Ibrahimovic-esque. To fill a hole for 6 months, of 18 months. They've done it before. They could do it again. They've certainly got the money to do it, and that's where we're going to sort of get left behind. I'd like to have a run in the Cups. That's all we've got, isn't it? As football fans, which we are of Arsenal Football Club, we want to go on a run to something, a day out at Wembley or, something to cheer about, some hope. That's what the idea of following a football team is, isn't it? Is the hope that you can go on and win something. And while you're in it, yes, you can win it because nobody thought Porto were going to win the Champions League when they did. Do you know what I mean? No one thought Denmark were going to win the European trophy in 1992. And so football is a funny old game. If 11 lads work hard together and try and achieve something, you can.
You can. Leicester. I mean, yes, Leicester, and even
and they didn't have Europa League football that season either, did they? By the way,
no, they didn't.
So it might not be a bad thing to not be in it. Again, we'd have to take the positives, wouldn't we, and say, right, if we're not in a cup, this year we go for fourth.
Yeah.
Must be the priority. But as the Arsenal, we should be trying to win everything we're in.
No, absolutely. I can't agree. Yeah, no, I'm not going to disagree with that. That's absolutely spot on. But Dan, Sheffield United came to the Emirates, and I was really, really impressed with them. There was no egos, there was no star players, and they played as a team. 11 of their players, I'd never heard of most of them, and I'm sitting there going, "Oh my God!" They're fifth in the division. Like you said, they're well coached. Why can't we become a well coach? Why can't we become a well coached side?
Well, I think the difference at the moment is that we've got too many players in our side that, in my opinion, have attitude problems. And I think that they are clear to see. I think they down tools on Emery. We've got players that are on ridiculous wages for what they're about, in my opinion. We're stuck with them. We're not going to be able to get rid of these players. We've still got Mohamed El Neni that we can't get rid of. We've still got Mkhitaryan on loan. These players won't leave. Mustafi, every window, he's supposed to be going. 90k a week. No one's going to pay him that, so he's going to stay. We've got players like Mesut Ozil on 350 grand a week, who apparently is 103rd in the league for goals and assists since he signed his bumper contract of £350,000 a week.
He's behind Liverpool's goalkeeper at the minute.
He's behind Alisson and Van Dijk for assists.
Liverpool's goalkeeper has played one game less and he has got one assist more.
Unbelievable. We've got players like Kolasinac, who's on 125 grand a week, Granit Xhaka on 120 grand a week. None of these players are going to leave Arsenal, so just stick with it. Trust me. These players will leave on free transfers when their contracts are up, either next season or the season after that. We're not going to be able to get rid of them. So everybody says, "Oh, we'll sell Mustafi to this and bring in Lewis Dunk." No, that won't happen. In terms of what we are doing as a team, that is simply it. We are individuals. We have got no team game. And that's what Arteta's got to try and look at. How can he coach these players as a team? And that's what I think he's done quite well, having certain positions, but he just hasn't been given the tools, in my opinion. And will he? Are the board going to back him? Because what he needs is funds. We need players. Now, the Upamecano thing is not going to happen in January. That, for me, will be a summer transfer, whether he comes to Arsenal or not. Timo Werner and Upamecano are going to go nowhere because Leipzig are top of the league and they want to win the title. So Julian Nagelsmann is not going to let his best two players leave so that they can then come fifth in the league as opposed to win it. They're ahead of Munich, ahead of Mönchengladbach and ahead of Dortmund at the moment quite easily, playing better football. A coach who I really wanted at Arsenal, but that's another story. So those players aren't going to leave. However, in the summer, if Saliba comes in with Upamecano, that would be two great signings. They're not going to be cheap, They're really not going to be cheap. Now, I said to Lee last night on the preview, I said that if I had a hole in my roof, I wouldn't do my kitchen up and do my bathroom up because I'd sort my hole in my roof. And the hole in our roof at the moment is centre-back and defensive midfield. And funny enough, it's been like that since we sold Sol Campbell and Patrick Vieira 15 years ago, and we've still not replaced them. So that, for me, is definitely a priority. And Arteta's got to be speaking to Edu, the board, and saying, what am I going to do in this window then? Because I've got no defenders. You're telling me to get rid of Mavropanos on loan, who's another option. You told me to get rid of Mustafi, who I'm now having to play, let alone keep, because I've got no other options. So please give me some funds to go and find someone in January. And their answer is go and get Boateng on loan. That's their answer. So that ain't good enough, is it? The league's done. Mark says that if we lose on shoot tomorrow night, that top four's done. Top four's done already. That was done a long time ago, in my opinion.
2 months ago, if you ask me.
Yeah, easily. I'm going to disagree with you boys, though, and say that if we don't win the Europa League or if we don't get top four, I don't want to be in the Europa League. I do not want to be in the Europa League anymore. I just want to play one game a week next season. Yeah, none of this Thursday night rubbish, Sunday afternoon rubbish. I just want to play one game a week like Leicester do and like Liverpool did the year they nearly won the league when Gerrard slipped. And then we get to the stage where we're playing that one game a week with a side that I don't believe we've got the strength in depth to play that many games a week at the moment. I just think we've got a good squad. It's bang average in certain positions. I would rather see us play one game a week on Saturday, 3:00 for most of them, and then let's see what we can do in the league and see if we can progress top 4. Because I'm sick and tired of going to Maccabi Haifa on a Thursday evening at 6:00 and having to play at 3:00 in the afternoon on a Wednesday in Portugal because they've got too many games that day. I've had enough of it. I just want to play in the league and in the Champions League. And if we're not in the Champions League, call me a snob. I don't want to be in the Europa League.
That leads us greatly.
Fair enough,
yeah, absolutely. I mean, it leads me greatly. As onto my next point. I tweeted out today that we're starting doing some ad breaks. People have sponsored the podcast and they are helping me bring it to you. There's small little costs involved, not much, but I've got a sponsor there that is helping me bring the podcast to you. He's a friend of mine. He has a business over here in Ireland, and he sells beard oil. Not a sponsor, anything to do with football, but his business is booming over here, and would like to reach out to some more people. The link is in the description below to the website, and here is a quick 20-second advert. He's a good friend of mine. Check him out. The link is in the description. Quality product. If you've got a beard, or your boyfriend has got a beard, or your husband has got a beard, think about checking him out. Here's the ad. Now, check him out in the description below. That ad will have a voiceover soon, but he's just getting the voiceover sorted out for the ad. Check him out in the description. West Cork Beard Oil. Colin, if you're watching, thank you very much for your kind sponsorship, mate. It really, really is appreciated. And hopefully some listeners will check you out. If you're listening on audio, you will also have the link in the description on Spotify or iTunes. If you think it's something you might be interested in, go and check him out. A good product, as you can see. I haven't got a beard, but everyone with beards around here tell me it's a good product. Like I said, business is booming for him in this part of the world, so check him out. Lee, Saka I want to talk about next. How good has he been since he's been moved to left back? What are we going to do with him? Do we keep him as a winger? Or, Kieran Tierney's out injured. Has Kieran Tierney got a fight to get his place back off this boy? Or do we keep him as a winger?
I honestly think that, he's a new Ashley Cole for us, if I'll be honest. He's something like Ashley Cole started off as a wide player and was converted into a left back. And I think that that's his best position. He comes onto the play. If you have a look at the left backs and full backs in general nowadays, they're not really defenders. They're more of an attacking option now. So I think that if Arteta plays his cards right here, he's got two very, very good attacking fullbacks to work on. They're young, so he can get an impression into them very, very, very early, and make these two players. I think that Maitland-Niles, by the way, has been outstanding on the other side since Arteta's come into the team. So I've liked Saka when he's played in the wide left positions, but I just think he's more suited to this. He certainly made more of an impression playing at left back. I thought he was absolutely superb. He made one mistake for the goal, actually, when he come out when he shouldn't have. But that's things that's going to happen with a young kid playing in that position. He's 18, 19 years of age. I think he's 18, is he? And I've got to say this: 18 him and 18 Martinelli. And Sheffield United didn't really get down that right-hand side once, by two teenagers playing that position. So that speaks volumes of both players. Somewhere along the line as a player, you can be lucky and you can get the position that you want. Sometimes you might have to go into another position and that's where you end up staying. Like I know players that have gone to football clubs as central midfielders and become central defenders, and central defenders that become midfield players. It's just the way that it is. I see this as a long-term thing for him. I can't believe we're being linked with free transfers at left back when we've got someone with this much potential.
Yeah,
it really baffles me. And there are times when he'd be able to play. When Tierney comes in there, he'd be able to move forward and vice versa. But for me at the moment, I'd keep him playing where he is. I thought he was brilliant yesterday on Saturday, and I'm looking forward to him playing against Chelsea against better opposition. As far as an attacking point of view, I don't want to go too overboard about his performance because Sheffield United are a well-drilled, organised side. But the one thing they do lack is attacking powers. Our Sheffield United fan told us that, didn't he, Dan, the other day? That they're a well-organised side, but they haven't got that much further. They win games 1-0 or 2-0 maximum. But in saying that, everything that was thrown at him, and you can only play as well as the team in front of you, I thought he was superb. So for me, I'm looking forward to him playing left back, and I think he should be playing left back definitely long term as well at the moment, particularly if Kolasinac has got a long-term injury. There was no talk about his injury today, by the way, which is a bit baffling. Whether they're keeping that quiet or he could be back, I don't know. But it seemed very, very strange that you're not giving us an update on that. Whether it's a bad one and they're not telling us, or he could be back on Tuesday. But even if Kolasinac is fit, I would still play Saka tomorrow.
I think the update for Kolasinac was after the winter break. I reckon that's what I heard today. Assessing him for Burnley, though. After Burnley, sorry.
After Burnley, assessing him. I mean, yeah. I'm not too. I mean, I don't see it with a fit Tierney. I mean, how long is he going to be out for now? I mean, everything was looking so good for him. Then he goes and gets injured. But I believe he's back in light training. So hopefully he'll be back before, the length of time that was said. But Mark, we've got to go to Stamford Bridge tomorrow and get a result against Chelsea. Some will say this might be a good time to be playing them. I don't know. Is there any good time to play Chelsea? Especially at Stamford Bridge, we haven't got a good lately. We haven't got a good record there. Can we go to Chelsea? Can we come away with the points?
Yes.
Okay. You really think that?
If Southampton can go there and get the points, if Bournemouth can go there and get the points, the thing is with Chelsea is they're just as inconsistent as us, as Dan and Lee and that touched on in the preview show. That you don't know what you're going to get with Chelsea. Well, even their own Chelsea fans don't know what they're going to get. So that is what it is. They will have a lot of the ball. Fine, let them have it. We'll set up to soak it up, and we'll have to have our pace in attack. That's what we'll need. And if we take our chances, and we will get chances because they give them away, as we do. It's all about taking chances this game. First goal will be huge. If they get it, we could be in trouble. If we get it, we're not too good at holding leads. So, that's it's not over. We'd need to get 2 or 3 to fill me with any sort of confidence against anyone these days. But we can, of course we can. It's a game of football. We could go to Barcelona and beat them tomorrow if the gods were on our side. If we got that little bit of luck, all these sorts of things. So, yes, we can go to, and we have to believe, and we have to go there with a hope as fans that we can do it. The players have to go there and believe. Things like whatever, this season's a write-off, isn't it? We're not going to win the league, so we're not going to finish top 4, probably not. So it doesn't really matter what happens. So every time they step on a pitch, it's a clean slate. It doesn't matter what's happened before, whether we made mistakes or whether we didn't get the rub of the green. Every time they start a new game and the ref blows a whistle, we just go again. Just go again. They're all effectively playing for their futures under our new long-term manager, and we hope he's going to be a long-term manager. So if they want to be a part of this project, every time the whistle starts, they start again, proving that they're worthy of playing for the Arsenal. And if they do that, of course we can beat Chelsea. They're not Liverpool.
True. I mean, a lot of people agree with you. There's a couple of saying that I don't think we can beat, but a lot more people are agreeing with you, mate, saying that we can win. We'll just bring up where are we there now? Here we go. It's possible we can win. So unlikely. Okay.
Yeah, but Chelsea fans might be saying the same thing. You know, they don't know what they're going.
Yeah.
They don't know what they're going to get. You know, they're not they're not prolific in front of goal at the minute. I like Tammy Abraham. I really, really do like Tammy Abraham.
Yeah.
But you know, he's not Ian Wright, is he? You know what I mean? He's not Didier Drogba. You know, if they had Eden Hazard or Didier Drogba up front, we'd be in for hiding. But they ain't. So anything's possible.
A lot of people. I mean, Peter says a 2-2 draw. Do you know, I'd be happy if we could come away with a draw. To be honest, and
we
Chris
are the
says,
draw kings now, aren't we?
Yeah, true. It's luck. Chris says luck. We've had none all season.
Now's the time. Then.
Got to agree with him there. We've had awful luck. I think we said last week. I think it's 9 points. We've suffered most to VAR this season. 9 points. If those points would have been awarded to us, we'd be fifth in a division. Another prediction here from Smith. Hello, mate. How are you? Thanks for watching. He reckons 2-1 to the Arsenal. I like it. I like the positivity. Dan, I don't think we're going. I don't think we've got the bottle to go there tomorrow and win. I like Lee's. I like Mark's positivity.
Come on, Craig.
What he's saying makes sense, but I just can't. You know, drawing 1-1 with Sheffield United at home and
we won't win if you're doing the pre-match team talk, will we, Craig?
No, we certainly won't. I should know better, really. I suppose with you, all the teams we've been in together. But Dan, can we go to Stamford Bridge and win tomorrow?
Oh man, this sounds so pessimistic, doesn't it? I've predicted a 2-1 loss again. I think the score will be the same. I just feel that although they are not on great form, they're pretty inconsistent. Just lost to Newcastle, lost to Bournemouth at home. I mean, crazy, really. But this is a team at the moment in Arsenal that everyone will want to get up against because they'll all fancy their chances against us. And we haven't got no Aubameyang, which means that they will think that we'll struggle to score. They've got a couple of world-class players in their side, and I'm not sure that we have. You know, Jorginho, we've all seen what he can do standing on Mesut Ozil. Watch Mesut Ozil start. I don't think you should, but watch him play. I think they've got a world-class player in N'Golo Kante, who everyone knows I absolutely love. Probably my favourite player in the Premier League. And I just feel that they have got the edge. And I think if they went to battle against us, unfortunately, I think they'll come out on top. All I will say is that if we put in the effort and we put in the performance and we lose 2-1, you won't hear me slating the team. If we roll over, then that is when it's a different story, and I will be frustrated. Arteta's not a magician. You know, Arteta can only work with what he's got, and I have been impressed with what I've seen so far. I like what he's trying to do with the fullbacks. I like what he's trying to do with the team philosophy. I also understand why, I don't know if people noticed against Sheffield United that Saka was pretty much playing as a kind of in a back three really at some stage, because he's dropping off and allowing the likes of Saka and Maitland-Niles to go forward, and he's kind of acting as that shield. The problem we've got is Granit Xhaka isn't that man that we need in that side. Now, he has been good under Arteta. I'm not going to slate him too much. But I think that's why we've been linked with this Brazilian lad, this Bruno Guimaraes, because from what I hear, he's more of a kind of holding midfielder, like a little bit like a Gilberto Silva type. So let's see what we can do with that. But I like what he's doing so far. Depends what Arsenal turns up. If we turn up and roll over, then, yeah, they'll get slated. If we turn up and put in a performance, even if we lose, you won't hear me complaining.
Lee, you're obviously going down there tomorrow night because of the big Arsenal fan that you are. Loyal Arsenal fan. Never seen him turn his nose up yet, even though when we are playing poorly. Do you really think you're going to be walking out there tomorrow with 3 points, Lee?
Oh, not really, but after Mark's speech, I'm fan so much now. I think we've got a chance. You know what I mean? So, you know. No, listen, Mark's right. You know, Mark right. Anything can happen. They can get a player sent off in the first minute. Anything can happen in football, can't it? You know, listen, Southampton, Bournemouth and West Ham have all gone up there in the last 6 or 7 weeks and won there. You know what I mean? We're certainly better than those teams, you know. So, but what I was speaking to my mate who's a West Ham fan. You know how they got that result was it was built on good defending, frustrate Chelsea. They run out of ideas, and then you hit them on the break or from a set piece. Now our set pieces this season have not been too bad, so they're weak on them. So like you know, there's an in there. It's if we can defend properly, and that is the big problem, you know, because these teams, when I say Bournemouth, Southampton, and West Ham, they've all sat in there and defended and let Chelsea come onto them. Our natural instinct is with the likes of Maitland-Niles and Saka is to go to have our forwards bombing on. Now, I thought it was very interesting to listen to as he did. You all right?
Have we blown him over with all this positivity?
Oh, yeah. He's not having it. He's not having it, is he? Like, no?
He hasn't gone to use that beard trimmer on his beard gel on his hair, has he?
He put it on his head, didn't he? He's got a freebie, hasn't he? Like, so just when he goes to put it on his head, he slips off. He's put it on his bum here and slips off the chair, hasn't he? Like, dear. Anything for free, isn't it?
Craig, you all right there, Craig? Sorry,
Jesus.
Where's Derek Okora when you need him?
What is it in Italy? Is it 911 in Ireland? Is it 911 or 999?
111, isn't he? He wants to ring the AA.
Oh, he's done one. I know that.
Get a jump start. Where's he gone? You're going to have to take over, Lee.
So, yeah. So what I'm saying. So if the you know, so I was really interested.
Oh, he's just texted me on the WhatsApp. He's gone to the toilet.
Well, he didn't ask permission, did he? He didn't put his hand up, did he? Like, you know what I mean? What's going on? No.
There he is.
Didn't even ask permission. You know what I mean?
Obviously, we're the number 2, was it?
Stop it!
I just went before the show, you know.
Yeah, I know.
He's getting old, though, Lee, isn't he? He's getting old.
Oh, yeah, that's just Jesus.
That happens when you get...
I've got a milk bottle down here, you know what I mean? What's going on, like, you know?
No, it's this new diet, you see. I have to be drinking 3 litres of water every day.
How much?
Crikey, man.
3 litres.
3 litres?
Like a racehorse.
I'd say you're losing the weight by running to the toilet and back. That's where you're doing it. You know what I mean? Get the water.
I have actually lost quite a bit of weight. Thank you very much.
Yeah, that's
well done, Craig. Well done.
Thank you very much. Vegetarian diet.
You shouldn't have got a toilet in that building. You've done well to get to your house and back in that amount of time. Well done.
It's a nightmare.
Well done, like that. Yeah, so what I was saying before we was really interrupted.
Sorry, Lee.
Like, you know,
why was interrupted?
Can I just come in there, Lee? I just on that point.
Let's just carry on with that point. You're more than welcome, Graham. I mean, Mark. Sorry,
Craig is a new Ozil.
Craig the new Ozil.
He's the new Ozil, Lee. He's gone
He's
gone missing. He's gone missing.
Wasn't it Aubameyang?
They call me the Wanderer. They call me the Wanderer.
Wasn't it Aubameyang that left the pitch?
Yeah, there you go. Look, Craig did an Aubameyang.
Uber.
I'm sorry, but when you gotta go, you gotta go.
Yeah, but ask permission. Let us know what's going on.
I'm the teacher, mate. I'm the teacher. You're the students. If I want to go to the toilet, I'll go to the toilet.
Oh, okay. Sorry there, Mr. Craig. Sorry about that.
You should have said what happened when you left us unattended.
Yeah, I'll have to watch it back now, I suppose. Well, I bet it was you that brought it up, wasn't it? Well, where's he gone? Yes, you did, you liar. When I came down, I put in the headphones. Always stitching me up at school, now he's stitching me up on a podcast.
He's definitely done that.
Jesus. Right, let's get to some questions, shall we?
No, but I ain't finished what I was saying. Like, off you've gone and then stopping me again. You know
you done there, Lee, or what?
No, I wasn't. Right, man, enough with it. Hey. Where's Nigel when you... Nigel, get him off here.
Do your job, Nigel.
Do your job, Nigel. Get him out of here. No, what I was saying, it's very interesting what I said before I go to questions. Arteta's press conference, he wasn't saying we're going to sit back. He was going to say we're going to go for it. And I think the teams that have beaten Chelsea have sort of sat in and hit them on the break. So it'd be interesting how it goes from that point. That's what I was going to say.
I don't think we can beat Chelsea tomorrow. I'm sorry now to put it down on it. I just don't think we'll win. I just think they're better.
In the toilet.
Yeah,
in the toilet, shouldn't he? What's going on?
Should have flushed him down there and all like that. I mean, get that wax out of your ear.
You brought the wrong bit back.
Yeah.
My hair. There's hardly wax in my hair. I've got no hair to put wax in. Let's bring these questions in. Karen, good evening, Karen. How are you? Good evening. Hello to everyone actually who's watching. I forgot to say hello to you. How very rude. Hello to you all. Over 300 of you watching us live. Thank you very much. And some people on Twitter might have seen, obviously, that we're streaming to Twitter as well, live. And I can see a few of you there. So hello if you're watching us on Periscope. Hello if you're listening to us on audio. Thank you very much indeed. Your support is always grateful. Karen, long time. What's wrong with you now?
I was just saying, you could have gone to the toilet while the ads were on. That's what normal people do, isn't it? Like, you put an ad break in and you didn't go to the toilet. I can't believe it.
The ad was
so
about
unprofessional. No, come on, that's a word. He's so unprofessional, isn't he? Like, you know what I mean? So,
the ad was about 15 seconds long. And
we're talking about beds now. I hope you ain't going to wet yours tonight with all that 3 litres, I'll tell you. But go on.
No, I've got a milk bottle.
Hey.
Can I get to the questions now?
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much.
Have we got time?
Yeah. Karen, good evening to you. Are the panel concerned that lately we're not putting the teams to bed? Oh, there we go. To bed. Pardon the pun. I'm very concerned about it, and I want to know why we can only score 1 goal at the moment.
Yeah.
Obviously, missing Aubameyang is massive. Having Lacazette not firing. Pepe, I really don't want to be negative towards Pepe, but has somebody had our pants down over him? Or
no, he'll come good.
It's his foot. I think that as well, Mark. I think he's going to come good.
Yeah, I think he will eventually.
Yeah, but at this moment in time,
not be for another team, but he'll come good.
Yeah. At this moment in time, when we're struggling to score goals, you want him to come good now.
Yeah. No, I think he has improved a little bit. He is looking more dangerous, if I'll be honest. But I'm with Dan. He's frustrating.
Yeah.
If you want to sorry.
This lack of scoring, this lack of scoring goals, is down to that, isn't it? I mean, Aubameyang's not firing, Lacazette's not firing. We've got Pepe who's still settling in. The only lad who's been scoring goals for us in games is Martinelli. He's finally broken into the first team. What do we do? I mean, we're just going to have to be patient and hope that Lacazette gets some confidence back. And that Aubameyang, could this 3-game ban be a good thing for Aubameyang, Lee?
Well, I don't think it'd be a good. I think it'd be nice and fresh coming back when he comes back against Burnley. But difficult one. I'd rather have him in the team now than not. Obviously, it's a 2-game ban as far as I'm concerned because I don't think he would have played against Bournemouth anyway. So but like you want your best players playing, particularly against the best teams, and Chelsea are up there as one of the best teams. So from that point of view, listen, Lacazette's got to come good. This is when you pay these players this money. I think he will tomorrow. I think I think a few people are being a bit of humble pie on Lacazette tomorrow. I think he'll come good tomorrow. I think that he just needs to go. I think his all-round other players been good, apart from like the second half against Palace, and yes, and I don't think he was as bad as what people are making him out to be for Saturday as well. His hold-up play was still good, but also you've got to have, there's a saying that any good forward will tell you he's only as good as the service he's getting. Yeah, and he ain't getting a lot. He ain't being served a lot, is he? So certainly isn't. That's my point on it.
Let's bring this one in. Dan, we'll bring you on this one. Well, we'll bring everyone in on it. This one comes in from PW. Thanks for watching and thanks for your support. VAR is getting ridiculous against us. Has anyone suffered as much as us with the wrong decisions? Answer to the question is no. We've lost the most points this year on VAR. But I mean, even yesterday, that goal that was disallowed for Liverpool, which on this foul on David De Gea. Now I'm a goalkeeper. Mark used to play in defence in front of me. numerous of times. I mean, even as kids, as a goalkeeper, I'm taught to go up with my knee up. David De Gea jumps straight up. Van Dijk is in front of him, looking at the ball. Doesn't even know De Gea is there. And De Gea drops the ball. I mean, it's no way a foul, Dan. It's never a foul in a million years. What is VAR going to have to do next season? Because, we brought in VAR to the Premier League to stop controversy. Controversy. It's been the most controversial season yet.
It has, mate. And I said this on the pod before that I think it stands for I think VAR stands for very awful refereeing, and I stand by it just for the pure fact that it has been so poor. And I think when you look at what the officials are doing, it's got to the stage now where now children, where it's got to the stage now where all of these decisions seem to just be going against every team, and I think it does even itself out over the season. And I said the same about referees when we didn't have VAR, but it does seem that we're quite hard done by. I still can't understand the decisions. I'm like you with the Van Dijk one. I still, for the life of me, cannot understand how Callum Chambers has been fouled in the box against Palace when Cahill and the other lad has pushed him. That cost us points. You look at the Palace offside the other week that no one's even mentioned still. That was offside. If Pookie was offside the other week, then that's definitely offside. That cost us as well. So we've had so many, and I still feel that the Pepe one was a penalty on Saturday. I think that doesn't matter how he's gone down, whether he's made the most of it or whatever. He's caught him. Looking at it on Match of the Day again, I'm thinking, Aaron Shearer and Ian Wright are sitting there going, I don't know how that's not a penalty. It's unbelievable, really. And I'm thinking, good, because I can't see for the life of me why that's not a penalty. But they've decided it's not. And I don't understand why referees don't just go and have a look at the side of the monitors. Apparently, they're allowed to do it now just for red card decisions. Well, why can't they do it for any decision? It's getting really stupid. For me, the rules need to change. It needs to be more black and white. I've never liked this grey areas in football. I don't like his toes offside. Graham Souness brought up the other week that if a part of your body's onside, then the goal should count. And I still believe that makes sense. Yeah. It's black and white. Is your body onside? Yes, okay, then the goal stands. And do you know what? People say, oh, yeah, but everyone would score then. Good. See more goals in football. Brilliant. Goals, that's exactly what we want. More goals in football. It'll make a brilliant game for it. And I think when it comes to the handball thing, that definitely needs to change, because now it sees you have to have your arms tied behind your back to play football, because any time that it brushes across your finger, or hits you from 2 yards and it hits your arm, it's a handball. So there's a lot of things that still need to change for me. And it isn't just VAR, it's more the officials that are getting it wrong for me.
Can I just say on that VAR? It's facts, isn't it? It's like when it's over the line. I know, like the Spurs one, and we're all glad that it was, but it was a millimetre. They can't argue with it. It's fact. It's fact. It wasn't over the line. The trouble with these decisions now, like the penalty for Pepe, you can have me and Dan in the studio, and Dan could say, "Yeah, it's a penalty," and I could turn around and say, "Well, I'm not so sure. No, it's not a penalty." And that's where the controversy comes into it. VAR. But just go back to VAR. If you don't, and I'm 70%, I'm not so sure if the Pepe one was a penalty or not. But there is contact, right? Go and have a look at Zaha's one against us.
Yep.
At Crystal Palace. Wasn't given. Went to VAR, and they come back and said, "Yeah, we're giving a penalty because there was contact." Well, if that is the case, if that is the president's set, then the Pepe one is a penalty as well. Yeah. But why? So VAR is not being factual, is it? Because there you've got one.
It's not being consistent. It's not being consistent.
Like I said, I think I said it last week. VAR has got to be used. The reason why it worked so well in the World Cup was because the referee was made go over to the monitor every time for a look.
And listen,
and it's not being done in the Premier League. If the referee goes over to the monitor on Saturday and looks at that Pepe one, he might not have given it, because I'm not so sure. I keep watching it and watching it. I keep changing my mind and changing my mind. The ball, he knocks the ball past the defender. He plants his left foot. Yes, the defender's foot comes out, but there's only contact made when Pepe throws himself across. There's no contact being made from the defender on Pepe.
It is from one angle, Craig. One angle it looks like that. This is the trouble.
Yes, but if you see it from the other angle, you see that the defender doesn't actually touch him until Pepe goes forward.
But
you're right. but you're right in saying that if the Crystal Palace one is being given because of contact,
yeah, that's what I'm saying. But then my next point is that we'll go back. I go to the Wolves one against Southampton, right? Yeah. Now take away VAR, it's not there. Southampton probably go and win that game, which eventually may cost Bournemouth, West Ham, whoever down there at the bottom of the table. When you look at it on the replay, it is so ridiculous that the referee hasn't given the penalty. My argument is you don't really need VAR. The referee should see that. Now, because the referee's so poor, he doesn't give a penalty, and that's when VAR was great because you can see it's a penalty, no arguments, and then Wolves go on and win the game, which could actually get them into the Champions League.
It's like the Aubameyang goal as well, Lee, against at Old Trafford.
Well, exactly. Yeah. How did the lines? Now he should never line again because of that. And I also think at the end of the day, is it lazy refereeing now? Say from somebody like, Mike Dean. Oh, it's not a penalty, but if it is, VAR pick it up.
It's an easy way out for him.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? So,
we're not having a go at Mike Dean, are we?
No, we're going at now. We're having a go at I didn't quite see it. I look at it now, and so it goes to somewhere where it's wider. So you can't have a go at the referee so much because it's this someone that's 200 miles away. So I just think with VAR, it's absolutely like the goal line technology. You cannot argue with it because it's
black and white, isn't it?
It's black and white. Yeah. Now in VAR, you're looking about getting all the right decisions. I go back to Spurs Liverpool game last week. The ball clearly comes off the Liverpool player, right? And they get. So it's a Spurs throw-in, right? It doesn't give it. Liverpool get the throw-in and score. They go and win the game 1-0. It's clear and obvious that there's a mistake.
Yeah, brilliant.
I know it's fantastic, isn't it? It's fantastic. But there again, it's VAR not doing its job.
Yeah, absolutely. I think what's got to happen is they've got to start. I mean, we see it on the news the other day that the Premier League are starting to say that the referees have got to go over to the screen for red cards. It shouldn't just be for red cards. The way it's got to work is the way it works in the World Cup. Like I said last week, if the people in the studio think that the referee has missed something, they have to contact the referee and say, "Look, we think you've missed a handball. We think you've missed a foul. We think you've missed a nudge in the back. Please go over to the screen. We're going to play it for you now. Make your decision." It shouldn't be up to the people in that gantry or wherever they are watching the game. It shouldn't be up to them to make the decision. They should be playing it back on the screen for the referee to look at because ultimately he is refereeing the game. He is there in the moment and it should be his decision, no one else's.
It shouldn't go to the man flogging his dolphin in his van, should it?
We see VAR all the way.
That's immaterial.
How do you know what he's doing in that van?
He's selling his van or something.
He's definitely flogging his dolphin, mate. Trust me.
Is that what you call it?
Jesus, if yours looks like a dolphin, you're going to the doctors, mate.
The game against Burnley yesterday. You could. I think like it's. But that Mees, he's gone like that with his arm like that, and he's definitely handballed it. And then VAR have not even picked it up. I'll get rid of it. It's rubbish. You know what I mean?
Or just use it properly.
Use it properly. Yeah, there's an idea. There's an idea.
Yeah. Like I said, it's like I was just about to say. Every country where it's run, we see it being used properly.
Yeah.
Except the Premier League.
We're supposed to be the best league in the world.
Rubbish. Rubbish.
Why do we have to be different? Yeah. Why do we have to be different? I don't.
This one comes in from Smith. We should try and pack the midfield tomorrow. Don't let Jorginho get on the ball. Play Xhaka, Torreira and Guendouzi to pack the middle and keep the ball. Can't disagree with that, Mark. I think the game will be won or lost in midfield tomorrow, don't you think?
You could say that, but Chelsea have got a plethora of talent in the middle of midfield and all that. So I'm not sure that's really where we want to try and play the game. It goes what Dan was saying about, the goals are drying up. You can't have it every which way, can you? We've took a creative player out of the team and put him in front of the back four to offer that protection. We've now got two people holding. It's no coincidence that since we've done that, we've started scoring less goals. Lacker's not scoring because he's doing the Giroud World Cup role. He's unselfishly up there taking one for the team, being that outlet. Some of for us to drill the ball to. He's trying to bring it down, and then it should be the other people should be feeding off of him, and that's what Giroud done. Didn't score a goal the whole World Cup, and they won it. So it can work, and it should be packed the midfield. The trouble is, if you're going to pack the midfield, we're taking yet another player away from our options going forward. So then we leave ourselves more open for Chelsea, and we've seen with Frank, he's not scared to change it. He'll go, okay, they're sitting deep. We'll just go to a back three and push more people forward. You know what I mean? So, and then all of a sudden you're camped in your own half and you can't get out. You've got to give them something to think about. Otherwise, you're on a hide into nothing. So, yes, pack the midfield, but it must be with attacking players also, because you've got to give them something to think about.
Absolutely, I agree with you. Here comes a comment here that I think we can all agree on. This comes in from Lee. Thank you very much, mate. Mike Dean is a bold twat. Yes.
Yeah, yeah, I'll cover that.
He is, to be fair. But, most agreed comment of the night, I think.
Yeah.
So, let's go for your predictions, Dan. Chelsea tomorrow. Give us your prediction, mate.
2-1 to Chelsea. I think we're going to lose 2-1, mate. Sorry, boys.
Mark?
6-2 Arsenal. I think,
can I interrupt you there?
Graham's back. I think we're going to go 1-0 to the Arsenal. Get in there.
God, 1-0. Goodness me.
Clean sheet. Nick it. Smash and grab, Newcastle style.
Oh, I'd love it though, wouldn't you?
Oh, I'd love that.
Wouldn't you though?
I'd love that.
Love a last minute winner.
Corner.
Yeah, why not? You'd love that, Lee. You would go home for a week.
Oh,
David Luiz.
Yeah.
Last one in the stadium.
Imagine that.
Ball's pinging around in the box. Comes out the edge of the 18-yard, just outside the D, and David Luiz comes out of nowhere and puts it top bins. Just stands there like that.
I remember Nigel Winterburn doing that against Chelsea one time. Didn't he? About a 35-yard thunderbolt, wasn't it, from left back?
Was it Slovenio done the same, didn't he?
Silvino,
same
I
thing.
think we've been linked with him, haven't we, Slovenio?
Been linked with everyone else.
Or is that where our Polish goalkeeper's gone out on loan to? I can't remember.
Slovenia?
If he's a free transfer, we'll have him.
Slovenia. Same thing. Lee, let's get your.
I'm with Dan. I'm afraid. I think that Chelsea will. I've woken up now. It was lovely fault Louise banging in the goal and all that. But I think Chelsea will probably just be a little bit too strong for us. I think mainly because they're away from home. We're away from home. But
it's a massive factor.
We was unlucky at home. We should have beaten them at home. So if we play like that, I just want us to play really well. If you play really well, give it a bloody go, then I'll be happy. But I just think that they'll probably just nick it. But listen, if we do win it, I'll be saying that bloody Mark was right. I tell you.
I know. You know me. I'll back us to beat anyone at home. I really would. The massive factor is that it's at Stamford Bridge.
Yeah.
Again, I just want a performance, like Dan said, a performance. It's like I said, the league is kind of gone. Our top four chances are nearly gone. I'm not looking into this game with, I wouldn't be putting the pressure on the team that I would normally be, personally putting on them when I'm at home watching it. Just a good performance, but I just can't see us. I can't see us winning in there. I'd love us to win there. Don't get me wrong. I don't know. I think I'm going to go 2-1 Chelsea. I think we'll score. We'll probably go 1-0 up, and we'll probably concede the most horrendous, stupid mistake.
Like last time.
Yeah, and then we'll fall to pieces again. I don't know.
We played
Karen,
well the first time, didn't we?
Yeah, Karen's saying, can you mention that Chelsea are not that good at home?
That's a good point. It
is a good point.
That is a good point. We're not good away though, Karen.
This one comes in from Pedgar, and he says Ozil is key. If he clicks, we're good.
Ozil doesn't start would be a better key.
That's the key, Lee. That's the key.
If Ozil don't start, would you play Danny Ceballos instead of Guendouzi, or is that just me?
Is he fit enough, Danny Ceballos? Is he to
Oh,
play the
I
whole?
don't know. I
90?
don't think Arteta fancies him. I mean, he's been a bit fit for a cut. He's been on the bench the last 4 games.
Is it fitness then?
Don't fancy. I don't know. Don't know what it is.
Well, I think if he doesn't play tonight and then doesn't play against Bournemouth, then there's a big worry for him.
I think as well.
I mean, wasn't there? Well, I mean, how do we? You know, a lot of people say don't believe the press, but wasn't there a report to say that Ceballos is not happy at Arsenal?
You'll probably find that if he plays more than 12 games, there's a £2 million clause that we have to pay more money for his loan. I remember it didn't happen with Theo Walcott once. When we got him off Southampton, he was absolutely flying. All of a sudden, he got benched. Everyone was saying, "What's going on here?" Then it turns out if he played 30 games that year for Arsenal, we had to give Southampton another £5 million or something, didn't we? You know,
Wouldn't surprise me.
Can we push this show on a little bit? Like Tyrese has just scored for Stoke, so like, missed it, like, you know what I mean? So,
get in there.
Stoke got 1-0 up, like, so Kevin's boys just scored, so I've bloody missed it now, like, you know what I mean?
Well done, lad.
Yeah, that's all because of Craig down the toilet.
Well done,
Yeah.
All right. Blame Craig.
Craig.
Thank you very much for staying with us this evening. That will be the end of the podcast. Over 300 of you watching live. Thank you very much indeed for the support. Again, thank you to our sponsor, Colin, and the West Cork Beard Company. Remember, if you've got a beard and it's itching, order some beard oil off Colin. It'd be lovely. Watch his demonstration on the website. Unbelievable scenes. I might even grow a beard myself. Might do the David Seaman thing where he had to take over the ponytail duties from, what's his name?
Look, just don't put it on your bum because you're full of
Emmanuel Petit, him.
I'm glad you remember him.
That was him. Yeah, the fellow with the long blonde hair. To take over the. That's the story, that he'd signed a contract or something with a hairband company, and that David Seaman had to take it over because he had the longest hair when he left. Don't know how true that is, but a little bit of stupid.
You heard it here first.
Yeah. Thanks very much for listening. Thanks for staying. It will be up on SoundCloud tomorrow for the audio heads, because I know there's a lot of audio heads. I'll upload it in the morning. Thanks very much. Let's hope for 3 points tomorrow.
Come on, you Gunners.
Up the Arsenal.
Up the Arsenal.
Up the arse.